has that demeanor to him. You can see his personality shining through with how they play. It's very similar to how they played when he was in Tennessee. It's very similar to how they played when he was a player. So I think you see the influence of his, coaching background and as a player. So they're a good football team. They're going to do a lot of things to not beat themselves, and we'll have our work cut out for us.
It's so unusual to have two quarterbacks that are rookies, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Can you explain how a challenge it is to develop two rookie quarterbacks at the same time?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially when you're getting one, you got to get a rookie ready to play in the games to help your team, and then you want to continue to develop because the other one's a snap away. So we're all hands on deck. I would say it's a total group effort. Kevin, myself, Musgrave, it's all hands on deck to try to make sure both are ready to play. You have to maximize opportunities, even if.
Don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. I'm just going to say what every Browns fan is thinking, but few in that building will admit out loud. This doesn't look like quarterback development. It looks like damage control. You don't go to a podium, talk circles about all hands on deck, and then funnel the meaningful work to one guy while the other eats scraps. That's not competition. That's choreography. And when Tommy Rees and Kevin Stefanski keep repeating the same safe lines, unique situation, walk through reps, we'll keep some tactics in-house, and it doesn't calm the fire. It pours gasoline on it. Because if you're really building two rookies, you don't hide the plan. You show it. You put it on the field and let it breathe. What we're seeing feels like manipulated reps and a managed narrative. The first team period comes, and somehow it always tilts the same direction. Live bullets with the starters, given to the system fit. Post-practice, half speed, scout team looks. That's where the other guy gets told to be ready at a moment's notice. Miss me with that. This is the NFL. First team chemistry is earned, but it's also awarded. If one quarterback gets 80% of the real work, don't preach equal development. Just say you chose a path and own it. And here's the part that stings if you've worn orange and brown through all the false dawns. We've seen this movie. Protect the plan, protect the staff, protect the pick you already sold to the room. Trust the process. We trusted the process through Brady Quinn, through Brandon Whedon, through Johnny, through Baker, who needed more structure until he didn't, who was the guy until he wasn't. The Browns have a history of turning quarterback potential into quarterback politics. And right now, the language coming out of Berea sounds a whole lot like the opening credits to that same film. I'm not here to trash Dylan Gabriel. He's doing what he should do. Take the reps, take care of the ball, keep the operation moving. Good on him. But don't insult the fan base by pretending Shedeur Sanders is getting the same runway when the evidence says otherwise. Walkthroughs aren't live timing with your WR1. Scout team shells aren't blitz pickups behind your starting left tackle. And we'll keep those tactics in-house is not an explanation. It's a red flag. Hidden agendas. Closed doors. Trust us, we got this. We've heard it. You want to know why this matters? Because quarterback rooms fracture over this stuff. Lockers can smell favoritism. Coaching staffs lose credibility when the message says compete and the practice script says comply. You preach merit, then you ration opportunity. You talk about confidence, then you bubble wrap one rookie and overexpose the other. That's not football. That's politics. And politics gets you beat in December when you need a drive and the guy you shelved for months hasn't felt real speed with real starters all season. I'm frustrated because this could be simple. Split the high leverage reps. Alternate first team periods. Put both rookies in pressure windows and let the tape speak. If one separates, great. Now your locker room believes you. If it stays close, even better, iron sharpens iron, and your insurance policy isn't just a press conference talking point. But when you script development like a press release, you don't build quarterbacks. You build excuses. So no, I'm not buying the calm package answers. Not when the pattern looks this familiar, not when development sounds like damage control, and not when the city is begging for a fair fight. If this is truly about the future, prove it on the field, where the truth has nowhere to hide. Because the next part of this story is the part they won't say out loud. How the depth chart really got decided and why. Let's be real. This quarterback room was never a fair fight. From the moment training camp started, you could feel it in the tone of every presser, in the body language on the sideline, in the way reps got divided. Dylan Gabriel was labeled the system fit, Shedeur Sanders, the project. That's how they framed it. Safe versus risky, steady versus flashy. And that framing alone already told you where Cleveland's loyalty was leaning. Because this franchise doesn't chase greatness, it chases control. They said Gabriel runs the playbook cleaner, that he fits Kevin Stefanski's rhythm. What that really means is he plays safe. He won't challenge the structure, won't freelance, won't question the process. And that's exactly the kind of quarterback Cleveland's front office loves. Predictable, manageable. But Shedeur Sanders? He represents the complete opposite. He plays with fire. He's vocal. He's confident enough to look you dead in the eye and tell you he can win. And to a coaching staff that's obsessed with order, confidence looks like chaos. So instead of asking, who's better? The Browns are asking, who's easier to manage? And that right there is how bias builds a depth chart. It's not about talent. It's about comfort. You can hear it in the coded language. He's more NFL ready. He processes faster. He fits the system. We've heard these excuses for years. They said Baker needed more time. They said Johnny needed more structure. They said the same thing every time, and every time they broke another quarterback. Look back at the timeline. Baker Mayfield, the former #1 pick who had this city electric, pushed back against the play calling, questioned the scheme, and the moment he did, they turned on him. Shipped him out. He's balling now in Tampa with freedom to improvise. Then Deshaun Watson arrived, and the organization spent more energy controlling the narrative than controlling games. System fit became a shield for mediocrity, and now here we are again, watching them crown another safe option while pretending the competition is real. It's wild because Shedeur's resume should have spoken for itself. He was one of the most composed college quarterbacks in the country. 70% completion rate at Colorado, top 10 in yards, top 5 in poise under pressure. This man was reading full field defenses when others were checking down to flats. And yet Cleveland acts like he needs to sit in the shadows and learn. Learn what exactly? How to hide his talent to make the staff comfortable? What really burns me is the double standard. When Gabriel makes a safe throw, it's smart football. When Shedeur takes a risk to extend the play, it's reckless. When Gabriel checks down, he's disciplined. When Shedeur pushes the ball downfield, he's too aggressive. That's not analysis. That's agenda. That's how they protect the chosen one and tame the threat. And you can feel it. The locker room feels it too. The vets know who has that real energy. They see it in walkthroughs. They hear it in the huddle. Shedeur commands presence, and that's something you can't coach. But presence threatens hierarchy. So instead of letting that leadership grow, Cleveland suppresses it under structure. This is how the Browns keep recycling heartbreak. Every time a quarterback shows raw leadership, they tighten the leash. Every time one buys into the system, they get praise for obedience. It's a loop, one built on a fear of losing control. And right now, Shedeur Sanders is paying the price for being the kind of quarterback this franchise has never known how to handle. Confident, prepared, and unafraid of pressure. So when people ask why the reps look lopsided, the answer's simple. It's not because Shedeur isn't ready. It's because Cleveland isn't ready. Not ready for a quarterback they can't control. And deep down, they know the day they finally give him a fair shot, this whole narrative flips upside down. You know what's wild about this whole thing? Through all the noise, all the backhanded quotes, and all the political mess swirling in Cleveland, Shedeur Sanders hasn't said a single word. Not one. No sideline tantrums, no cryptic tweets, no passive-aggressive jabs in the media. Just quiet work. Helmet on, eyes forward. Showing up early and leaving late. And honestly, that silence speaks louder than any press conference could. Because in this league, silence isn't weakness, it's composure. And Shedeur's been trained for composure since day one. You think growing up as Deion Sanders' son didn't prepare him for this exact storm? He's been living under a microscope since middle school. Every throw, every mistake, Every ounce of confidence he's ever shown has been compared to his father's legacy. And still, he learned to let his play do the talking. But now he's in a system where even his play can't speak because they won't give him the mic. And that's what hurts to watch. The Browns keep talking about development, but development requires trust. It requires reps. It requires believing that a young man can handle the weight you drafted him to carry. And right now, Shedeur's stuck in this professional purgatory, too polished to complain, too disciplined to cause drama, too good to ignore, but somehow still getting ignored. Let's be real. A lot of rookies in his position would have cracked by now. They'd start making noise, forcing the issue. But Shedeur? Nah, he's cut different. He's been taught the long game. He's patient, respectful, and locked in. You can see it on his face during those practice clips. That calm fire, that look of, say less. I'll show you when it's time. But patience has a shelf life, doesn't it? How long can you stay quiet when they keep moving the goalposts? How long do you keep trusting the process when the process doesn't trust you? And that's where the frustration hits. Not just for him, but for us as fans. We know what he's capable of. We've seen the film from Colorado. The poise in collapsing pockets, the reads, the touch, the command. You can't coach that kind of calm under pressure. It's in his DNA. And yet in Cleveland, that very calm is being used against him. They interpret silence as submission. They see patience and call it passivity. They don't realize that quiet confidence is still confidence. And sometimes it's the deadliest kind. Meanwhile, the media spins their narratives. Maybe he's not ready. Maybe he needs more time. But ready for what? To run scout team drills? To throw to third-string receivers? The same reporters who praised his maturity during the draft are now questioning his competitiveness, just because he's not making noise. It's wild how fast this league flips the narrative when you refuse to play their drama game. And the Browns, man, they talk about leadership all the time. We want leaders in this locker room. Well, what's more leadership than a young man handling blatant favoritism with class? What's more leadership than refusing to fracture the team when you've got every right to? Shedeur is showing exactly what kind of man he is. Level-headed, professional, built for longevity. But make no mistake, that silence is simmering. There's a fire underneath it, and when it finally gets a chance to burn, a lot of people in that organization are going to wish they'd listened sooner. Because this right here, this is the kind of moment that defines careers. Not when the lights are bright, but when they dim them on purpose and you still find a way to shine. Shedeur's not losing his edge. He's sharpening it in silence. He's not waiting because he's scared. He's waiting because he knows timing is everything. And I'll be honest, that's what makes fans like me root for him even harder. Because when a man has every reason to lash out but chooses discipline instead, you can feel destiny building in the background. The question is, how long can he keep biting his tongue before that silence becomes the loudest statement of all? You want to know what real quarterback development looks like? Let me show you. Because whatever Cleveland's doing right now, it ain't it. Development isn't hiding your rookie behind vague excuses and secret in-house tactics. It's not rationing reps like they're a privilege. Real development is about structure, competition, and trust. It's about preparing a young quarterback for chaos, not protecting him from it. Look around the league. The blueprint is right there. Kansas City drafted Patrick Mahomes, let him sit behind Alex Smith, but still gave him real, meaningful work. He ran scout team offenses that mirrored live systems. He studied under an MVP-level mentor, but still got his own playbook progressions. They didn't treat him like a secret project. They built him in public, with intent. When his time came, he didn't just step in, he exploded, because he was actually developed. Or take Jordan Love. Green Bay didn't just keep him in the shadows for 3 years. They structured his growth. First-team reps during certain practice windows, constant feedback loops with the offensive staff, intentional exposure to pressure packages. They built him like a long-term investment. And now look at him. Calm, composed, confident. That's how you raise a quarterback. That's development with a plan. Even Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, You think San Francisco just stumbled into a gem? Nah, they created an environment that elevated him. Real reps, real chemistry, real belief. They didn't hold him back because of politics. They trusted their scouting. They trusted their eyes, and when his number got called, he was ready because the system around him was real. Now look back at Cleveland. They talk about developing two rookies, but everything about their structure screams fear. Fear of conflict, fear of second-guessing their own decision. If you truly believe in Shedeur Sanders, why are you afraid to test him? Why not split the first-team reps? Monday, Gabriel runs the offense. Tuesday, Shedeur gets his shot. Alternate days, alternate looks. Let both learn under fire and let the locker room see the truth for themselves. That's how you build internal belief. That's how you find your real leader, because right now it feels like the Browns are trying to protect their narrative more than their future. They're scared that if Shedeur steps up and balls out, the controversy explodes. But that's the thing about real competition. It's supposed to explode. That tension is where greatness gets forged. You think Mahomes didn't push Alex Smith every day? You think Aaron Rodgers didn't feel Jordan Love breathing down his neck? That's healthy pressure. That's progress. And honestly, this is what drives fans insane. We're not asking for chaos. We're asking for fairness. Give the kid a chance to show what he's got against real defenders, with real protection and real routes. Because until then, all this talk about development is just noise. It's air. Imagine if Cleveland flipped the script. If they actually structured Shedeur's growth like they meant it. Simulated 2-minute drills with starters. Split the film review sessions by situation, not seniority. Rotated first-team practice drives so both quarterbacks tasted the same pressure. You'd have 2 ready quarterbacks instead of 1 bloated storyline. You'd have a foundation instead of a controversy. That's what real development looks like. It's not cautious, it's courageous. It's not political, it's purposeful. The Browns don't need more sound bites. They need a system that rewards performance, not comfort. Because here's the truth, Shedeur Sanders doesn't need to be protected. He needs to be unleashed. And if Cleveland can't figure that out soon, another franchise will, and they'll be the ones reaping the rewards of the quarterback Cleveland was too scared to trust. You know what's crazy? This story stopped being about just Cleveland a long time ago. This isn't just about Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel. This is about every talented player who got caught in the system. Every young quarterback who was told to wait his turn while politics decided the depth chart. It's about every rookie who walked into a locker room full of fake promises and left wondering if talent even matters in this league anymore. Because what we're watching in Cleveland right now, it's not a football problem. It's a pattern. You can silence a rookie, but you can't bury greatness. That's the truth. You can manipulate reps, twist media narratives, and build walls around opportunity, but real talent, real leadership, always finds a way through. You can delay it, but you can't deny it. And the Browns, man, they've made a habit out of trying to control what can't be controlled. Every time they pick a quarterback with potential, they treat him like a threat instead of a foundation. We've seen this cycle too many times. They draft the savior, smother him with structure, drown him in politics, then act shocked when he wants out. Baker, Johnny, Brady Quinn. It's like they fear confidence, like swagger scares them more than interceptions. And now it's Shedeur's turn in that same machine. The difference? He's built for the noise. He's already survived the circus once in college. He's been criticized harder, doubted deeper, and still showed up sharper every Saturday. That kind of resilience doesn't fade. It multiplies. Because when his moment comes, and it will come, all these excuses will evaporate overnight. The same coaches protecting their plan will start saying they always believed. The same media questioning his readiness will rewrite their takes to sound prophetic. The same fans who hesitated will wear his jersey like they never doubted. That's how this league works. They ignore you until you force them to watch. But that's what makes this story bigger than Cleveland. It's about every underdog who's ever been told to sit tight, every player who practiced behind the chosen one and still gave everything anyway. Every athlete who understood that being overlooked doesn't mean being unworthy. Shedeur Sanders represents that. He's carrying the weight of every forgotten talent who refused to give up. And when he finally gets that chance, when he steps on that field with the starters, under the lights, with no restrictions, it won't just be a debut, it'll be a statement. Because that's the moment everything flips. The moment the excuses stop and the truth finally speaks. And when it does, it's going to be loud. It's going to be undeniable. So here's my question to you. The people who actually see what's happening, where are you watching from? Drop your city, drop your team, and tell me if you're riding for Shedeur till he gets his shot. Because this story, it's still being written. And when the page turns, I promise you, everyone's going to remember who believed first.